Well, hello and welcome back. Inevitable Jim here, and yeah, 75 Monte Carlo, and you could probably tell we got things masked off. Did decide to paint it. Now, am I doing a professional paint job? Nope. Just gonna make it all one color. So we are going to be painting it with turbo cans. That's right. We are doing the cheapest, easiest way to make it all one color, and the supervisor has shown up. Yeah, Sandy's here. She's supervising Dad. Are we going to turn the Monte Carlo white? Yep. She says, let's paint it. All right, so what are we going to do? Overall, we've done a lot to it to make it roadworthy again, but it's just fugly on the outside. And honestly, I put the car for sale thinking I was going to leave it for somebody else to make it the color they wanted to make it. But you know what? People keep saying it's ugly. I guess politics is perception. So we're going to change the perception. We're going to make it one color. Now, are we going to do a nice job? No. No, we're not. We are going to do what we can do to make this a 10-footer. Well, maybe 20. But we're going to turn it white. So I've already done quite a bit, like the masking and stuff. There was no reason to record that because honestly, it's extremely boring. And I got interrupted. I was just doing it in my spare time until I got to a point where I was ready to do the last door, pull it out here, do the last door, and that's what we did. So what am I going to do? Well, I've got my DA. There are a couple very rough spots here and there. We're going to knock them down. You know, something like rubbing rocks on there, you know, kind of knock it down. I just want to make sure that some of these bad spots are not really visible from, 20 feet away. And we're just going to knock some of these areas down, scuff it up, and then we're going to hit it with Reinstalling turbo cans. That's right. We are going to turn it white. And yeah, now I have already jammed it. I've already painted the door jambs white, so that any overspray that goes in is just going to be on top of the white that's already there. I just thought that would be easier to do, and so I did it that way. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and scuff this up. I'm going to go ahead and turn on a time lapse so you can watch me do a little bit of that, I guess. And then we're going to come back, we're going to blow it all off, and then I'm not going to change the masking or anything. We're just going to blow it all off, then we're going to wipe it down and blast some white paint in the air. So let's get started. Here's the thing. I wanted to sell this car the way it was and let somebody else choose the color to paint it. But I was getting lots of comments that, it just doesn't look that nice. Well, apparently they didn't watch the videos and see all the mechanic work, but that's okay. I thought, you know what, so let's just turn it white. All right, so that way at least it's all one color, and it'll kind of preserve it somewhat until somebody does decide to paint it or do whatever. And we're going to make it a 10-footer, like I said. So, maybe 20. Anyway, so a couple things. You should, sand it with all the different right grits, and then you should, prime the bare metal, and then you should wipe it all down with, wax and grease remover and do all that. Those are the proper things to do on a paint job. So I did none of those things. Okay, we're just simply going to turn it white. Now, a couple things. Rust-Oleum has the gloss enamel and the custom 5-in-1 spray that's really nice to put on the low volume to get in the cracks and crevices, because I'm here to tell you, these turbo cans, you're going to see, the big ones, they lay the paint out fast, and you got to move. If you try to use one of those to get into these, around the mirrors and such, you're just going to have runs and streaks and globs of paint. So I always go with the regular smaller can of gloss white and go around and touch up all the little areas and cracks and crevices. We're gonna go around and do that now, and then we'll break out the big cans. So what this is good for is like right around all these trim pieces and such. Just need to edge it all in, and you don't need to use the big cans. So we're gonna go around and get that done, and then we'll break loose the big cans. This way, I don't know, makes it a little bit easier. All right. And that's kind of what I'll do with the little can. So before we get going too much, I'm going to put on a respirator, cover my face, so I'm not breathing in all the paint fumes. We do have the breeze kind of going that way, which is good, away from the camera and me. But, you know, there's still a lot of fumes. So let's get masked up and start painting. And I tell you what, this is just the cheap mask from Harbor Freight, and it works really, really well. All right, let's paint. Kind of cool, I sound like Darth Vader with this on. Oh. When I go down with the big cans, I'll dust these areas from a distance, you know, to get another layer of paint on it, but around the cracks and crevices, you know, I want to do it with this can. Also, it's kind of nice if you got spots that you need to get an extra layer on, you can go around and hit it with the small can too, just to help hide it, because you don't want one of them spots showing through later when you're going with the big cans. Around your door handles, locks. I don't know how much you can hear me, but I'll keep talking anyway. Okay, now it's time to move on to the turbo cans, and we're going to let some paint fly. One thing you want to make sure you do on these is when you first start spraying them, there's like a, I don't know, it's a yellow goop that comes out, and make sure you spray that a couple sprays until it comes out the white or the black or whatever color you want. Get my stool here. Alrighty. Well, I gotta shake up a couple more cans, take a little break, and we'll bring you back when we got it finished up. Well, there you have it. It's all white. Let's walk around and see what we got. Well, of course I have a couple industrial size sags, but that's all right. Other than that, I think there's one right down along there. It's all one color now. And yeah, I gotta say it looks a little better. We haven't even unmasked it yet, but I think overall makes it look a million times better, even if we didn't do any of the dents, even if we didn't sand all the imperfections out. Just getting it one color makes it look a little better and helps preserve it until the next person wants to paint it. So we'll come back. We're gonna let this thing dry for a couple hours, and I'll undo enough just to get the driver's door open Then we'll pull it inside. And then tomorrow morning I'll come in, we'll unmask everything. And if you recall from the original video on this car, I've got virtually all the trim to put back on this. So we'll get to putting some of the trim on and kind of make it look as good as we can. So it's gonna wrap it up for today. I'm tired. That was a little bit of a workout. So see you tomorrow. Welcome back. It's a few days later now, and as you can see, we have the car back here at my shop. Brought the Monte Carlo home, and it's been several days because I wanted the paint to have a chance to cure and harden up before we start putting emblems and leaning up against it and so on and whatnot and so forth, and you know it. So anyway, what we've got to do now is we've got to get all the emblems and trim that we have back on the car. Now, if you recall from the original video, there was a lot of stuff included. Here, I'll show you right now. It is a pile. There is a pile of stuff here. I bet you there's 40 pieces of trim on this table here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take some time. I'm gonna start sorting through this and trying to lay it out on the runners of the wildfire lift here around the car, roughly where it's gonna go. Maybe kind of work up a battle plan. I don't know. But anyway, that's what we want to do. We want to start getting all the trim pieces back on as best we can. I'm sure some glue is going to be involved, maybe a little JB Weld, self-tapper or two. You know, because some of it's bent and tweaked, but some of it's really straight and in good shape, just needs cleaned up. So Sandy's out here with me, and we're going to start sorting through this and see what we can get done. You want to put the trim back on the Monte Carlo? Or do you want to go to the house? You're like, Dad, it's getting late. I want to go inside. Okay, making some headway. You can see here we've got parts and pieces laid out along the car, roughly where they go, front to rear. And we're working on sorting through a few more here. And I do have all the plastic clips and such for some of the side molding and such, but they are just covered with dust and dirt. So we're going to throw all them in here in a little bowl of water. Let all that dirt and stuff kind of soak a little bit, and then we'll brush them off so I can get them clean. I mean, just look how just covered with dirt. It's just dirt, no big deal. We're gonna put them in there, get them soaking a little bit, and then I'm gonna clean them off. Gotta sort through a few more of these yet. These are the ones that go around the portal window there in the back. A little bit of a jigsaw puzzle. I gotta figure those out yet, but moving right along. All right, well, let's put the first piece back on. And it does have some screw holes down there, but it also has a piece up top here, clips. Fits on those, and it does line up with the holes down here, and I just happen to have some sheet metal screws that should line up with these holes, and hopefully they will fit. Oh, need a battery in the cord of the screw gun. Be right back. Let's try that again with a battery. All right. Hey, that worked out. Now we're actually going through the factory screw holes, so that helps. All right. Look at that fine Concourse Edition bodywork. First piece on. 96 to go. Okay. These little plastic clips are a little firmer. They don't have as much flex. So I got to tap them into place a little bit with a little bit of a mallet, just to get them to go where they're supposed to go. They aren't as cooperative as they would have been new. They're working still. I'm using a little bit of just a little brass punch here to help persuade it. There we go. All right, onto this piece. Now this piece does have 2 screws on each end that goes on the inside of the door, so let me get the door open so I can get to those. Okay, got that snapped on. Boy, this stuff's filthy. Gotta get that cleaned up. All right, we'll get the screws on through the door here. Hopefully they line up. There's one. There we go. Hop up here and get the front too, and this piece will be done. Let's see. All right. There we go. This stuff is filthy. I gotta get that cleaned off. All right, one more piece on. Giving this a quick wipe off here with some glass cleaner. Just a quick wipe off and see if we can't get the first layer of crud off anyway. That's looking a little better. Needs a good scrubbing, but I can get the first layer off. Oh, look at that. Just absolutely filthy. Yeah, she's dirty, so we'll keep wiping her down. See if we can't make it look pretty. Well, prettier. How's that? Yeah, it's never gonna be like really pretty, but you know, I think I've achieved the 20-30 footer. Had to straighten this wheel lip molding out quite a bit. She was tweaked in several spots, but we got all the screws started, so got to just tighten them up now. When you're putting on trim and stuff, you know, you might want to, you can kind of tighten maybe one end, but then just start all the rest of them so you can move it around, especially if it's been twisted and, you know, kinked a bit, and then go back and tighten them all at once. I did have to pull this one out for this piece down here because this goes over that and then the screw goes through both pieces. So let's tighten these up. And this is the one that I'd already tightened, so one more piece down. All right. Now when it comes to the pieces that go over a lot of these plastic clips, you just set it up on here and it's kind of you just kind of push it up and over and snap it on. Get this located to where it belongs. That looks about right. Then you just push up, you slide it on the bottom, and then you snap it up and over. Just give it a whack. Now you saw I was missing a couple here. I didn't quite have all of them. I was missing a couple, so I skipped 2 pins here just because the door moves and slams more on that end. I figured it need to be held better down there. So just, like I said, you snap them right over, and that is all there is to it. Get them hooked in. Just like that. And then they're on all the way down. Well, got to open up the door, put the nut on that end, and move on to the next one. Yes, do not adjust your screens. It is the next day. And I have magically teleported to my shop. I drove the Monte Carlo to the shop today thinking I would have a little more time to work on it here and there, and well, that just didn't happen, so we're here after hours working on it and putting the rest of the trim on. Could have just left it at home and done it after hours, but you know how it goes. You try. So, all right. You get these headlight trim rings in. Did a little bit off camera with Richie last night. He was over and he helped me with getting some of the trim pieces across the windshield and the back window, you know, stuff you need 2 guys to reach across. So we knocked that out at home last night. He came over, we were working on a few things, so gonna keep moving on these. So by the time this video comes out, we will be on our way to the poverty tour and duct tape drags. So for those that are joining along in the drive with us, I'm looking forward to meeting everybody. I think it's gonna be great. Yeah, Hershey, gonna do some final checks on them tomorrow, and then we leave Saturday morning. Gonna head down to Dalton's for the day, and then we'll round out the day with a drive down to Joplin. Pam and I have a hotel down there. Looking forward to meeting those of you that are going to join us, and then we're going to take several days to meander across the country along the old Route 66 and take in the sights and just enjoy our rides heading over to Duct Tape Drag. So both headlight buckets are in. Let's move to the wheel trim. One of the last pieces I was waiting to do was this right front wheel well trim, and she a little tweaked. Yeah, it's going to take some bending and tweaking and twisting and to get this back into shape. It's been bouncing around in a parts pile. The good thing is this stuff's pretty flexible, pliable by hand. Just got to kind of straighten your edges out and see what you end up with here. It's getting a little closer there. Ooh, we're not even close back here. I tell you what, let me work at straightening this out a bit, and I'll be right back. Well, I think I got it about as close as it's going to get, which is way better than it was. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a couple screws around, and then I'll get this thing put on. I have some pretty good self-tappers here that are about the right size, right thread size. So now on a lot of these trim pieces, you'll have some holes that are kind of slotted, more of a, I'll get this to focus a little bit. You'll see it's more of a slot, and then like there, it's more of a slot, versus like right here where it's just a straight hole. So what you want to do is find which one has just the straight hole and not the slot, and that's where you want to start. You know, locate that one. It's usually going to be somewhere in the middle, and then you can kind of tweak and adjust to get the rest in. So let's get this put on. All right, I've got most of these started. Got the one in the middle, down to the last one here to get started. There we go, got it lined up. Go around, tighten them up. There we go. Turned out better than I thought it was going to be. That was pretty crooked. Yeah. Got to glue a couple more emblems on. So next up we got these door edge molding like protectors. They're actually metal. You know, so kind of nicer than some of the chintzy plastic ones. And these just press right on the edge of the door. You line them up, just give them a tap. All the way up. And voila. Now we do have a vent piece to put back in here, so let's get that done. I'm gonna put the vent piece back in the door jamb here. Goes right up in there. And we got two small screws, and we can finish this piece up. Don't want to go too hard on that. It is old brittle plastic, you know. So there we go. All right, wow, what a cool old car. Yes, she sure cleaned up pretty nice for a cheapy job. So really like to thank you for joining us for the series on the 75 Monte Carlo. And if you've enjoyed it, let us know. Mention it down in the comments. You get to see what we're working on, and we'd like to see what you're working on. Email me at theinevitablejim@gmail.com. Show me what you're working on. I'd like to see it. Please take the time, leave a comment, let us know what you think of the video, even if you just want to say hi. I do read each and every comment, and quite honestly, I respond to most of them as well. If you do shoot me an email, understand, I do read each and every email. Sandy, Richie, Pamela, and I, we'd like to thank you for joining us on the series and supporting the channel. One of the things I don't mention probably nearly often enough is memberships. We do have memberships for the channel, $2.99 a month. If you'd like to support the channel in a little additional way, you can hit the information down below. If you'd like to send us something, the actual physical address for me via snail mail and shipping is in the description below as well. Shirts, stickers, hats are all available at theinevitablejim.com. And yes, we have 2 brand new shirts just coming out, plus another sticker. Check them out, they're great. If you have that car or that's something you've been wanting to work on, you've set your goals, you can do it. I believe in you that you can do it. Set a goal, set that target, and go get it. Now, having said that, I want you to take some time. Go out in your garage, your carport, or wherever it is you work on your projects. Work on that ride and get it out, have some fun, and drive it. That's what it's all about. Now, having said that, I think it's a great idea. It's exactly what I'm going to do right now.